I am really nervous. I have 1 minute to go. And I'm going to start on the clock, on the dot. G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza and I'm at the beginning of a 12-hour live stream. I'll be starting in the next 1 minute, and then for the next 12 hours I plan to animate a complete animated short in that time, from start to finish. The only things I've pre-prepared are the stage here, just a VCam and setting up the project settings, and I've also gotten my Twitch subscribers, my VIP crew, to help me with the voice acting. I haven't been able to do any of it myself. As you can tell, I lost my voice recently. And within this 12-hour time period, I'm going to get this whole thing done, hopefully. Fingers crossed. My heart is racing really fast, way too fast for comfort, and I am hoping that that does not continue for the whole stream. Anyways, I am ready to go, and the time will begin. In 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, so through the course of this video, I'm going to be just voice-overing, narrating what's happening. And to begin with, what I'm doing here is setting up what's called an animatic. This is a very scribbly, unattractive version of what the animation will end up being, but it's incredibly useful because it enables me to set up specific time areas to kind of gauge how long certain scenes will be. Also to work with different camera angles and input things like dialogue and those scene transitions without actually having to refine it all and then realize you've made mistakes and then go back and try and fix it all. So in doing the whole animation very rough from the very beginning, I get to see the whole thing, the whole finished animation in the first 1%, not 1%, 10% of the production process. So relatively speaking, when you actually watch this whole video, which is of a 12-hour stream, the first 2 hours are spent in this preparation way, which is quite a large chunk out of a 12-hour limited time period. But the result is I can then use the remaining time as effectively as possible and distribute my time as effectively as possible. So that's the main reason I do it, and it's the same thing I do for all of my client jobs and things like that. So at this point in the stream, a whole bunch of people were subscribing and donating, which was really quite uplifting, and I'm very appreciative of the support. As you can see, yes, it's all very sketchy, all very rough. I'm towards the end of the animation here in this animatic, and then the next thing I'm going to be doing is starting to, piece by piece, put the actual animation together. So there you go, I've finished the animatic, and then the first thing I do is work on a character. Actually, before I build the character, I distribute my time. I should have mentioned that, sorry. So yes, I do the animatic, and then I divide it by time into hours. In building the character, I do a sketch again, so it's a little bit more of a refined sketch to work over, because drawing immediately the refined lines is actually not very wise. If I immediately went in and started doing line work like this, I don't actually have a base to build off of. So I do construction lines in very rough, light brush first, and then on a new layer and in all different clips, I build the actual body, and then I repeat this process for the rest of the characters. So also you'll notice that if you are animating, I've been building everything on separate chunks, and if I'm animating properly, which I wasn't able to do fully for this actual project, I mainly just did the faces and head movements, I have the body parts in separate areas as well, so I can add movement to the body. So his arms and legs and torso are all separate. In doing the background, a little trick that I've used here is I've drawn everything with lines, drawn the shapes and lines, filled them in with gradients and colors, and then I've selected the whole thing and just removed the lines. And then this leaves sort of blank chunks of color, which adds kind of like a really nice, blocky, cartoony sort of look, and that's the style I've gone with for the background. That's a little trick I learned off of Greg, or Zdox, who's an environment artist friend of mine. Here with the crates, I did a little sneaky trick where I just basically did one panel and I distorted and reused and repositioned that same panel, and then I reused the crates as props throughout the whole animation, so that made things a lot simpler. Again, that simple little trick here is used in a different way where I draw blank colors, very different from each other, and then I fill them in with gradients. So that's another way you can go about doing the really simple blocky look sort of thing. Next here I'm working with silhouettes. This is one of those examples where I've done the limbs and the body parts all separately so that I can animate them all on individual tweened layers. And basically all of the bandits share the same clip except for there's a duplicate arm so that some of them have their swords on a different angle so it doesn't look so repeated. And that way they all, in their different poses, look like individual characters. Otherwise, there's really not much need for detail because the focus is on the central character, who is Captain Zavakon, who's named after one of the Twitch subscribers. So yeah, by the way, for those of you who don't know, the entire script was put together with Twitch. So with my Twitch subscribers who picked the theme, which was Sky Pirates and a wheelchair handicap person who overcomes them. So that was all picked by them. Yes, activity, toilet break, always important to log that sort of thing. The animated effect here I'm doing is a bit of a cloud dust particle thing, and as you can see, all starts as one central area, then all puffs into lots of little areas, and then adding detail like a puff of smoke that dissipates into a blur of nothing, and then adding a flash, and then I can use that and repeat it in areas where there's the bang. So that was a simple way of doing that sort of bang effect. This sort of area here is where I can do a bit more of a detailed character portrait because it's a bit of a zoom in and it's to emphasize something about this character, which is that he's, you know, somewhat disabled. And so, yeah, I spent a little bit more time on making it look a little bit humorous and more detailed than some of the other areas as well. And again, all kind of in separate pieces. So the arms and the torso were all in separate areas. As you can see here, when I draw characters on different angles, I've taken little copied avatars or little copied sections of the character from where they were seen previously, just so I can have it in there as a reference to serve two purposes: to make sure that all the proportions are in the right place, and also to serve as a color picker so that when I paint it and color in the areas, I can simply just use the eyedropper and select it from the other character, so I don't need to try and find it in the swatches panel. As useful as the swatches panel can be sometimes, you know, it's worth just having the thing there to pick from immediately. So yeah, in doing the lip syncing, I wish all the characters I could have done like that, where I animated the mustache and the beard. Unfortunately, that was the only shot where I could do that because there are lots of mustaches and beard in this animation. But yeah, unfortunately, this shot of Zavakon was the only one that I could do that with because I ran out of time. But yeah, I like to work them around. And with lip syncing in general, which I think is an activity that's coming up soon. After I do the clouds, I think I get to lip syncing. With lip syncing, it's important to sort of keep in mind that you're not just animating the mouth, you're animating the face and their entire personality. So here we go, this is the lip syncing section. First thing I do is animate the mouth, and sometimes I can preset the mouth shapes and then just assign them, but then I make sure that the eyes are looking in certain directions and that the eyebrows are sort of placing emphases on certain things. And then after I've finished animating the interiors of the face, I can sort of go out and animate the head's actual angle to move with certain emphases as well. So back here you can see that I'm redrawing the wheelchair man with a much less detailed shot. The reason is because in that area it's zoomed out on, so to have the very fine details far away would look a little out of place. So I drew a less detailed kind of crappy version of it. And again, same thing with lip syncing. Normally with this sort of character I would have animated the jaw to go up and down as well, but again with time limits I didn't have much time. So yeah, I did with the laugh because there wasn't much work there, but yeah, normally I would follow along for the whole thing. So yeah, what have we got here? Also, the lower eyelids being raised as an emphasis of emotion is something I use quite often, and the upper eyelids being lowered is sort of dismay or boredom or snobbery. That's just something to sort of keep in mind. But the lower eyelids coming up is underused, I should say, because it's very useful to accentuate emotion and comedy. So yeah. Anyways, in this section, I'm animating the captain being blasted back into other characters. This was particularly fun because it was a little bit of slapstick, you could say. And the captain was basically just blurred so that you couldn't see much. It was just like more about the motion and the timing and the sound of it being put together. Speaking of sound, I did this whole animation just with the voice clips. I didn't have the final animations sound to work with, and that's how I always work. I always work with the voice clips, and then I add the sound effects and music after. Here I'm building the death scene of Steelbeard, and this is another example of what I was talking about earlier, where I build everything in parts, and you can see why I do that in a moment, because in building like the head and the arms and their legs and torso all in separate areas, when it came to his death, because I was limited on time, I only had the ability to tween, and as you can see here, it was quite useful because I could get a bit of character expression within a very limited time to show his death, so that was really useful. As you can see, there's an hour and 45 minutes left in the timer and fast declining, so at this point, as you can see with my mood indicator, I was starting to really sort of freak out, so I was really rushing in to get in the art. I used a bit of a cheat here to kind of reuse some of the gradients from the first cloud and just blurred it all up and added a bit of a quick scene transition there to make it all sunny and pretty. It worked a little bit better than I was expecting because I didn't know how to do those clouds, to be honest. And after I animated this character who was just a still picture with a mouth moving because I was rushing, the crowd was another thing I rushed on because I was going to sort of draw an actual crowd with, you know, faces and people, but because I was rushed, I just drew silhouette and added the hands. So it didn't look that bad in the end. I guess it sort of worked out. And then finally, this last scene, I was a little bit sad because I was going to have this prospectory character sort of add his 2 cents, but I didn't have time to do him as well, so I just did the female. Doing her final line, setting up the punch line, and then also in front of the final backdrop. Drawing Captain Zavakon on his final angle before his rolling off the end. As you can see, what I do with the wheel here is do a straight circle, rotate it and animate it rotating, and then with that inside its own clip, I can kind of tweak that and move it, and it'll animate circular, but even though it's tweaked to be on an angle. So with 12 minutes left, I rushed through adding a whole bunch of stuff like the clouds in motion in the background, as well as some thunder and lightning at the start. Added the laughs to the captain, and that's basically how everything was put together. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm finished. Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, we did it! 12 hours. We made an animation from start to finish. A complete animation. I feel like I've just run a marathon. I sort of have. Jesus. Oh, man. That was possibly the most intense animation session I've ever had in my entire life. Thank you everyone who has joined me. Thank you so much to the Twitch chat. A huge thank you especially to my Twitch VIP members who not only created the theme for this and put forward the characters and things like that, but also did all the voice acting. As you can tell, my voice is kind of husky, and I asked my Twitch subscribers, my VIP members, to do the voice acting, and they all did it. So massive thank you to them. So yeah, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to join future Twitch streams. Thank you, Steel Ribs, for donating. Woo, dancing monkey. Good Lord, that was exhausting. Thank you, Hope Hoops. Yes, these are probably going to end up in the YouTube video as well, so you can have your little dancing monkey with your name. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to join future Twitch streams and join the VIP if you're interested in taking part in collaborating with me on projects like this in future. I will be making the resource files, the entire animation in Flash format, freely available. So make sure to check out the link in the description and you can download it and explore it yourself. And if you're interested to see how I put some of that stuff together. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel to see new content every week. Check out more of my stuff by clicking the annotations over there. If you want to support my work and get a few goodies for yourself, head over to my store for archives, ebooks, and get yourself something nice. If you're looking for a great place to collaborate, explore, or share your own content, head over to newgrounds.com. That's it for now, and until next time, see you later.